Good morning. I'm Darren Hubbis with Par 4 Fitness, and we're going to be going over a webinar series for the foreseeable future. It's also something that we like to include for our clients as an added benefit to working with us. So today's first topic is going to be creating a team. And this is something that I'm very big on, where here at Part 4 Fitness, we're working on movement mechanics, making sure that the body's moving well so that you can make the right progress with your swing coach. And creating a team is something that's really important for us. So if we get a player from one of our coaches and say they're working on something in the swing and you're having a hard time with it, that's something that we can address physically that can make things easier for you in your transition to becoming a better player, maybe a more efficient ball striker, whether you're a junior trying to get a little stronger, a club member looking to get out of painful movement patterns, or you're a professional looking to crack into that next level of playing ability. This would be something that would be really smart for you. So we see this interaction, this team environment at really all major tour levels, and it's something that's catching on really quickly in other sports as well, where you have the medical staff, the trainers, as well as the coaches and the ownership all working together towards a common goal. We find that is most efficient at creating improvement, but also getting you to that next level much more quickly. So my training is largely through the Titleist Performance Institute, which they have different tracks to basically connect us coaches together at a higher level. We can all communicate basically the same to one another because we're learning through that system. And that's something that I like to incorporate into our training with players, making sure that they understand the movements and the physical requirements of that movement, but also how that translates over to the golf swing. Because if you can understand how that movement is incorporated into the swing, then it's a lot easier to make that change and incorporate that into your movement patterns on the course. So working with professional players that spend a lot of time on this, it is a bit of a process. So that journey is something that the player has to be invested in. Say you're just going out to play 3 or 4 times a week, or you're just looking to get back to playing once or twice a week. Practice is something that is basically required to see that improvement. It's like anything else in life. If you're not working on it, then it's either going to stay the same or it's actually going to digress a little bit. So it takes that constant chipping away at things to really make and see an improvement. So coming off of rehab, for example, if we're progressing from a passive motion to something that's assisted, but you're now controlling that motion, active assisted. Uh, the goal would then be to get you active, which was basically the category that the golf swing falls under. It's just a fast, explosive motion. But what we want to do is challenge you through resistance so that movement pattern has a higher likelihood of falling into your golf swing motion. So there's no guarantee that if you just go through a motion passively, that carries over to the golf swing. So creating a team is obviously that important aspect of what we do here. But also I always say there's 3 buckets. We can work on the body, which is our category. We can work on the swing, which is your coach. And we can also have the equipment. Now, most people put most of their time and energy and their money into equipment. We're going out and getting the best driver that's available, or the newest driver that's available, the one that promises us 10 to 15 more yards. Well, if we constantly do that, then we're going to be gaining 200 yards over the last 10 years. Come on, that hasn't happened. But if we're optimizing the body, optimizing the swing, and then going for equipment, then we have a really high likelihood that we're going to see a nice bump in performance. So those three buckets are what we're looking for to put our time and our energy into. If you don't maximize all of them, then we're not going to reach that full potential that we have as a golfer, but really as an athlete throughout life. So one of the things that I always preach about with working with different coaches is finding someone that is compatible with your personality, your style. So if you like the technology, then going with a coach that uses TrackMan, uses FlightScope, uses KVest like we do, or BodyTrack, that's something that can fit very well with that personality. But if you're kind of a simple, not technical thinker, it might be easier to work with someone who uses these little drills that can kind of trick you into moving the way that you want to, or even maybe a clinic is the best scenario for you. And the same goes for choosing a club fitter as well. There's different options around town here in Naples, Florida. We can go to the club. We can go to Golf Guys, which is just down the road. There's also on the higher end of the club fitting sphere would be a Club Champion or a True Spec. So those guys are very different, and we'll be chatting with them throughout this webinar series in order to really just educate you on how can I reach that next level of golf performance, and what do I need to do to get there, and what are my options. So if we're at the club level, we'll see maybe just some tape ball flight, or maybe getting some raw data off of the flight tracker or launch monitor. So what we'll see there is we'll get an order and from the company, and then we'll have that club, or you do a demo day, something like that. If you like the club, or if you're getting good numbers on the launch monitors, then that'd be something that you could buy right then, which is great. And then at the higher end would be that True Spec Club Champion, where you're getting fitted, you're getting the same shaft, and they're going to pure those shafts based on the specs that you see. And that's the same process that tour professionals go through. They just have the vans and their professionals to go through that with them. So they know exactly what they're getting, and they can tweak it even on a daily basis if they need to. So, and there's also hitting inside versus outside. You have options for a golf coach like Golf Tech. Is a great system, but you're inside, you're hitting into a net, but you get great numbers, and there's some good benefit to that because you're not so cued in on, okay, what's the ball flight, and it can become a little bit depressing if you're trying to make these changes and you're working really hard at it and you're not seeing the ball flight out on the range. So if you're looking to improve the mechanic or things that you're working on with your coach inside, and you're not so worried about what's the ball doing 100 yards out, yeah, that's important, but there's some steps to get to better performance in terms of how you're striking the ball as well. And the same goes for us. So different options in terms of private classes or group settings or virtual training, which we're now going to be doing for the foreseeable future. So it's just creating a team, finding the right spokes in the wheel to fit in with your personality, but your golf game and your goals. So for a professional, I would try to go to the top end of each of these categories, but just making sure that you have the right people on your side is very important. So I like to think we're a good resource around town for finding the right swing coach, finding the right club fitter as well. So I'm excited to bring some of those people on, do a little bit of a Q&A with them as well, but also to educate you on what's out there, what are some options that I can take, especially once things start reopening here in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. Um, but really what we want to promote is that team approach, and it's having the right pieces in place to help you maximize your potential.